Today I fucked up by nutting blood all over my wife's face. Actually happened last Sunday. I was out of town for 2 weeks because of work, so my wife and I hadn't seen each other for a while. On my way home we're sexting a bit and things are getting pretty heavy. I get home and fire up the shower. She pops in with me. We're making out and move things into the bedroom. We share a wall with our neighbors, so I cut the lights and throw on a movie, The Avengers, for some background noise. She's on top of me riding, but I can tell she's into the movie too, so I flip her around and hit it from behind so we can both watch, because that's what gentlemen do. It's her favorite position, so she's getting super wet. Like, really wet. Within 30 seconds she's having an orgasm. Well, when she nuts, I'm usually not far behind, so I tell her I'm close and ask her where I should come, again, because I'm a gentleman. She says come in my mouth. So I stand up and unleash everything I got. I'm talking full out cerebral palsy orgasm, where I couldn't even open my eyes. As my soul is re-entering my body, I notice my dong is darker than normal in the TV glare. I flip on the bathroom lights and suddenly I can see why. Blood everywhere. Like, murder scene everywhere. I gasp in horror as my today I fucked up wife stumbles in like Carrie from the Stephen King book. Turns out all that wetness was her period arriving early and she didn't know. She saw herself in the mirror and burst out laughing. I started dry heaving. So much for a romantic evening. TLD, our wife and I had sex in the dark on her period, unknowingly, and I ended up getting period blood all over her face. This is actually how I lost my virginity. Sex in the woods at night, she had no idea. Pulled out and almost passed out as the moonlight illuminated just enough to see the discoloration of my member. Scrambled for my lighter and then I absolutely screamed like a girl. My brain's first thought, her vagina just somehow stole the skin right off my dick. Wasn't really eager to get laid again, I tell you that. Stole the skin right off my dick. Hope you married her. So I cut the lights and throw on a movie, The Avengers, for some background noise. She's on top of me riding, but I can tell she's into the movie too, so I flip her around and hit it from behind so we can both watch / She's getting super wet. Like, really wet. Within 30 seconds she's having an orgasm. So, was it Tom Hiddleston or Chris Hemsworth that was on screen? I'm a Chris Evans man myself, smiley face. I come blood by Cannibal Corpse. That's funny shit. They say that the best sex is the sex you have to clean up after. Love, the kind you clean up with a mop and bucket. That's probably better than you being the one producing the blood, which is what I thought. Same. Much better outcome than anticipated. Edit, I've never had so many r/angry upvote replies. Today I fucked up by watching too much porn during the pandemic. So, I 23M have been seeing this girl, 20, that I met on Bumble for the past couple of weeks. Last night was one of the first times we hooked up, and it was going great until it came down to oral sex. Before I continue, I would like to preface that I watch way too much porn. It started during the pandemic because I was quarantining in a brand new state with no friends for a year. Plus, suffering from a bit of social anxiety made it difficult to really get down with random hookups. Thus, I resorted to the occasional wank or two almost daily. Back to the story, though. We're getting a little frisky and she starts going down on me. Unfortunately, my guy down there is struggling to get up. I've never had this issue before, so I'm genuinely surprised as she is at this point. Imagine, I'm just laying in her bed at 2 AM while this chick has my flaccid dick in her mouth. Meanwhile, she's trying all sorts of oral procedures in a vain attempt to resuscitate my limp Jimmy. At this point, she's just sitting there unsure of what to do and all I can do is shrug and think to myself, someone please kill me now. It's safe to say, that was probably the most traumatic and embarrassing moment of my life and I personally don't think I can recover. Too long didn't read, porn-induced erectile dysfunction prevented me from engaging in sexy times with my friend. Edit, holy fuck. Sorry for the late updates as I have been away from social media for a couple days due to travel. But thank you so much for the awards and comments. I took some advice and made sure to let my friends know first that it had nothing to do with her. We talked more and we came to a mutual understanding that it most likely was due to anxiety/nerves. Which brings me to another point. After some thought, it's entirely possible, as some folks have pointed out, that this has nothing to do with porn and maybe it really is just nerves/anxiety. Still, I think porn has something to do with it, and so I plan on cutting back on that and eventually quitting. Again, thank you for the people that have provided quality advice and reached out to me in my DMs. This has been more helpful than you can imagine. Smile. Why didn't you take this as an opportunity to go down on her and try to turn yourself on that way? Sex is a fun activity involving 2 or more people. No passive parties allowed unless that's what you want. Yeah, I just kinda froze NGL. My anxiety instantly shifted the blame to myself and it killed my confidence to continue. Hey man, death grip can happen. Just let her know that you were nervous and it's been a while. I'm sure she'll understand. And stop watching porn from here on out, it'll come back to life for you. Edit, because my most upvoted comment ever is about helping a guy bring his dick back from the dead. Let me clarify. You don't need to quit porn forever. Porn is fine, but probably lay off it for a bit, and don't beat your dick for a couple weeks. And for the people saying that this is an anxiety thing, yeah, it could be, that happens. But only experience will help him get over that. Quitting baiting will also nudge things along though. If I don't pound off for about a week, I wake up every morning contemplating whether or not to fuck my pillow. Yeah, to be fair, she was incredibly sweet about it. But, still a confidence killer, haha. I definitely will stop watching porn. I think it's done more harm than good, tbh. / performing mouth to pickle resuscitation / live damn you live Gorble. I would not worry about it honestly. My husband has anxiety and the first few times we tried to have sex he would get too anxious to perform, so he'd just get me off and we'd try again another day. Clearly it worked out since we've been together for 13 years and have the best sex I've ever had by far. Yeah, my friend was telling me I was overthinking it, and now reading your comment sure makes me feel a lot better. Thank you. I've had a similar situation when I was around your age. I was mortified as well and say, well, this is embarrassing, and she just looks down and mumbles yay for me, and it dawns on me. She thinks it's on her that she can't get me hard when I just drank too much. So 2 points. 1. It happens to everyone. 2. She feels just as embarrassed that she couldn't get you going. Don't sweat it. As a woman whom this has happened to a few times, this is exactly how I feel in these scenarios. It's a tough one for both of you. Try to talk about it and reassure her, and yourself, op. Today I fucked up by looking at the security camera monitor and scarring my boss's retinas. This happened 2 days ago. But my one coworker thought you'd get a kick out of this story, so they suggested I post it here. We have several security cameras set up inside and outside of our building. We all have monitors that display the camera feeds, multiple feeds on one screen, like Zoom call, that are visible from our desks. This is important in the event one of our clients gets into a physical altercation with another person on the property. Right now we are still not seeing any clients face to face. However, we occasionally get volunteers and random people visiting. One of these random people is a kid, maybe 19 or 20 years old, and he is here because of court-mandated community service hours. Let's call him Tyler. Tyler has been doing odd jobs around the office. Window washing, mowing the lawn, weed whacking, moving heavy file boxes, etc. He's always been very polite and energetic. However, one day he went upstairs. He was cleaning up there recently, but had finished, and my coworker and I were snickering because he was clearly up there just wasting time browsing his phone. We didn't care, but we thought it was funny that he chose to do so in a room that had a camera. There are 2 rooms that do not have cameras because they are locker rooms. We continue to casually check the monitor to see just how long Tyler is going to sit up there logging community service hours by doing nothing. After about 20 minutes, I look up and I see he's still sitting there, but he's moving his hand rapidly. I squint, already thinking the worst and hoping he's just bouncing his leg up and down, causing the arm resting on that leg to also bounce. He was not. I text my coworker and say, "What is he doing?" And they texted back immediately saying they were just about to say the same thing to me. I go to their office. Tyler is clearly jerking off in the room above our heads. What do we do? After some deliberation and giggling, I decide to go to my boss. I pop into his office. Poor guy is in the middle of his lunch, and say, "Hey, would you take a look at your monitor for a second and tell me what you see?" He looks for a second, then realizes. As I was in the office, Tyler stands up, finishes, onto the floor, and then grabs a tissue off of the desk. My boss was covering his eyes and kept saying, "I wish we hadn't seen that. I really wish we hadn't seen that." Now my boss is faced with having to figure out how to deal with this. Tyler is a nice kid, and reporting this would almost certainly send him back to jail. Not to mention the aftermath of prosecutors and parole officers coming into our office and disrupting our work. We've kept Tyler working outside since the incident. Too long didn't read. I saw the community service guy jacking off upstairs in the building he's supposed to be cleaning, informed my boss, and he got to watch the grand finale during his lunch. Edit, forgot to include the fact that after he was done upstairs he immediately went outside for a 15-minute smoke break. Must have been good. You think you can stop him by keeping him outside? Joke's on you, he got a new weed whacker. I had a friend, let's call him Tyler. Tyler worked at an eye doctor's office on the weekends. Nobody was there but him, and he was only there really to answer the phone and do clerical stuff. Well, naturally, he was doing some Tyler stuff regularly, and one weekday the manager approached him and said, "Listen, we have a camera pointed at the desk, and well, yeah. So we will be separating our employment with you at this time." Tyler was super embarrassed and learned a lesson about masturbating at his desk alone on Saturdays. These rampant Tylers out there masturbating all over the damn place. Taking a number 3. If I was the boss, I'd rent a carpet cleaner, steamer, hand it to Tyler the next morning and ask him to steam clean that room. And then as he walked away, I'd loudly tell him to steam clean any other room with carpet he had jerked off in.